Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Mikhaila Vibohova. I'm 27 years old and I'm based in New York City. Um, Thank you for letting me share my story today. I'm very excited to to be with you. Where to start with my story? I was born and raised in Slovakia. It's in the middle of Europe, and I was raised by a single mom, and we were alone. We're from a middle class family, and I've always had a dream of traveling and having my own business and leaving a little mark in the world. Um, when I was 15 years old, my my best friend at the time asked me to go to competition, modeling search with her. And at the time, I was working in a mall. I've had my first summer job. I was incredibly excited, and she asked me to go with her as a support. So I did. I didn't really have an opinion about it. I went to support my friend. Um, while she talked me into going in with her. And since there was a long wait line, we were waiting for a long time, I've decided to join her. And about a month later, I didn't win the contest. But about a month later, a modeling agency reached out to me that they would like to represent me. And it was something that not necessarily I was interested in. But after speaking to my mom, she said that this is an opportunity that we can explore and see where the life takes us. And we did that. And I think after having heart to heart with my mom, uh, and she empowered me and she gave me the hope and the strength and the guidance into into how to say it, into following my dreams and not being afraid of the world. I received a contract from modeling agency in Turkey. They wanted to represent me, and they wanted me to be on location in Turkey. And I moved to Istanbul for 2 months at 16 years old. I was incredibly terrified, but just as excited as well. And I'll never forget. At that point I've never been outside of my country, and definitely not on my own. And I remember when I've landed in the airport in Istanbul, and I got outside, I found my car that was taking me to the modeling agency apartment. I remember the song that was playing in the car is it was Michael Jackson, Hollywood Tonight. And I'll never forget that feeling that I've had that um, something's going to change, and it won't be the same. I had this feeling that my life is going to take another direction, quite unplanned one. And I've I've got to meet so many wonderful people. I've had 9 roommates at the time in 3 bedroom apartment. We're all sleeping on bunk beds, and I didn't really speak English, and nobody really spoke Slovakian. So that was my first that was my first lesson of English on my own. I was speaking with hands, drawing things out. Yeah, I get to know a new city. I started working, very little money, but I was so excited. I felt like the world is my oyster. And I kept flying back and forth after my 2 months, after my first 2 months in there, and I was finishing my high school. I kept going in and out. I was living in Istanbul for about a year. And then I started working in different countries. I started working in Milan. I started working in Paris. I started to travel a lot. And one dream that I've had was that I wanted to live in the United States. There was some place for me. I believed in the I believed in the American dream, where you can work hard and put your mind to something. Anything is possible, and that was something that was incredibly attractive to me. Um, at the time, it was incredibly hard with visa, and I figured if I can, excuse me, that's my dog. He's very, he likes to be with me. Yes, when I'm working. Stay in, honey. Um, as I said, at the time, it was incredibly hard with modeling visa. And I've decided if I can just make it to the States and knock on modeling agencies' doors, somebody will endorse my visa, somebody will sponsor my visa. And that was my plan. I've had less than $1,000 saved at a time. And that was just enough for a plane ticket with 4 layovers. And I've made it happen. I've had a friend of a friend of a friend, my only contact person in Fort Lauderdale in Florida, where I can stay while I knock on doors. And I did that. After years of working in Europe, about 2.5, 3 years, I made my way to States. And I started knocking on doors. And one memory I have, after purchasing my ticket, I have about $450 in my bank account. And now the cab from the airport was over $100. And the cab from Fort Lauderdale to Miami Beach, where the agencies were, was not $150 one way. And I also needed to get back. So I pretty much had one shot. And at agencies that somebody will take me. And after meeting with about 3 agencies, one of them took me, and that was Wilhelmina Models. They set me up with a model's apartment, helped me out with my visa, and I've started working. It was an incredibly long journey. And after living a couple of years in and out of Miami Beach, I was able to visit New York on a job, and it's something I fell in love with, and I decided to stay and make it my home. It was definitely not easy. New York is a place where it's incredibly busy. There's so much competition. From my first apartment in the Bronx with 3 roommates, modeling wasn't quite enough to keep me afloat and make a living. So one of my jobs here, I was anything from a cater waiter. I was doing background in movies where I get paid about $80 to $100 a day. But what it gave me, I could bring my laptop, I could bring my books, and I've studied while I was waiting around on a set. If I didn't have to go into a casting for my agency, I was doing something every single day for just to get by and save money. I remember when I was doing background in movies, I had to get up at 4 a.m. and take a train to Brooklyn because we started working at 6 a.m. I was waiting around on a set for about 10, 12 hours, but I worked 2 hours out of them. I've got paid, I've got free food, and it gave me room to figure it out what I want to do with my life. And other than modeling, my dreams were a little bigger. I wanted to have my own business, and it gave me the room and the focus to figure it out. And after modeling started paying off and it became my only job, I cater waiter maybe here and there on the weekends to make a little extra money. I've decided that after listening and working closely with designers, I realized that I would like to branch out on my own, and I found my space in footwear, and I've decided to start my own footwear line to make shoes. And the reason why I picked shoes, because I wanted every woman that wears it feel equally flattering, no matter of body shape, height, size, which is sometimes a struggle with ready to wear. Um, I felt like with shoes, everybody looks equally flattering, and that was something that was very intriguing to me. Yeah, and that's how I started with footwear. I was able to bootstrap the entire company. I've made everything is from my savings, and I took baby steps into building my dream. Excuse me, honey. Um, and that's how we got here. That's how we got here. Years later, oh, excuse me. Somebody ring the doorbell, and this is doggy's kryptonite. If somebody rings the doorbell, you have to protect. I know. Um, there was so many. I remember when I first branched out and tried to start my own business, there was so many things that went wrong, and I didn't quite know where to start. And I get this question a lot of times. I was like, "Oh, how did you start your business? How did you know where to start?" And my always the answer is couldn't be simpler. I Googled it. My initial when I've decided set my mind to something that okay, I'm going to start a footwear line. I Googled how to start a footwear line. And I made so many mistakes along the way. And it took me about 2 years to figure it out. Find suppliers, find manufacturer, learn about the process. That's how it started. I Googled it. And
Your story is just absolutely intriguing. You know, a lot of people will hold back when they have a dream, right? They will think, okay, I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the skills, I don't have the experience. And Mother Google is out there for anybody to access. And you did just that and started this incredible footwear line. Now, of all things in fashion, why did you go with shoes as opposed to clothing? What made you decide to go into designing shoes as opposed to clothing?
so the main reason why I decided to go into shoes and not clothing, because for me personally, sometimes if I look onto something online or see something in magazines, it doesn't fit to me the way it looks like on a picture. Everybody has a different body types, and to me, everybody's different size, different height. Um, I for me when I started it, I wanted every single woman that wears my shoes. I want her to be. I want it to look equally as flattering. I want her to feel the same. No matter who puts it on, it looks great. It looks the same way on everybody, and that's something I. Maybe I'm a perfectionist, but if I were to make ready to wear and make clothing, and somebody doesn't feel good in my clothing, it
Mm.
would personally hurt me. What can I do?
Oh, I love that. I love it. And of course, being in an industry where that is a big focus, besides what you wear, you've got to be comfortable in what's on your feet. Have
Yes.
you designed the shoes in such a way that they can also help models who are spending a lot of time on their feet in sometimes very uncomfortable shoes? Was that part of your consideration?
Yes, absolutely. So I've had a very funny story about this. Because
Mm.
have you ever gotten a foot massage?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's where I learned. I went
Ah.
I was going every week into the Chinese reflexology places, where they have like the nerves and the inner workings of feet on the walls. And there was something that intrigued me, and they knew so much about the pressure points on the feet, where the tension is, where it hurts. So I was going to them every single week to get foot massages, and I was asking them, where do you think is the issue? Where are the pressure points? What about high heels? What makes them bad for feet? What about the rest of your nervous nervous system? And what about the muscles? And what do you think is the what do you think will change it? What's the arch? And they gave me so much insight. They were
Oh, wow.
incredibly helpful.
So you literally designed this out of a need for yourself because you were feeling the pain and the discomfort with wearing shoes. And yeah, I love going for a foot massage. It's like therapy for me. It actually helped me reduce my blood pressure because I'm recovering from heart failure. And somebody told me about reflexology and just the how our feet really give us an indication if something is wrong with the rest of the body, right?
Yes.
So your shoes are designed with that in mind. That is amazing.
They are. So obviously it's still high heels and no high, like I'm not here to say that high heels will feel like slippers. That's not the case. But
Yeah.
I kept this in mind and I tried to avoid exactly the points that are damaging.
Okay.
Obviously, I have stilettos. I have
Yes.
some stilettos, and if somebody wears them for entire day, there will be
There'll be discomfort. Yeah.
there will be, and there's no magic. If it's a stiletto, if there is a heel, um, there will be some discomfort after certain hours. But what
Yeah.
I've tried to do, I've tried to make it as comfortable as it's
Possible.
possible.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So if you could go back to the younger you, that young girl who decided she wanted to go into business, create something that she had never done before, and give her three nuggets of wisdom based on what life has taught you to get to this point, what advice would you give in case there's a young woman who's listening into this interview, thinking about starting a business? What are the lessons that you've learned that you can share?
I think one of my biggest lessons is you have to be stubborn on your vision but very flexible on the details, meaning that sometimes I'm the type of person that has everything planned out and every single step how to get to my goal, but there's a million ways how to get to 100. There's many ways how you can achieve your goal. So just be flexible on the details because you never know where life can take you. There's different opportunities that can come your way. I think the flexibility on your details to get there, that I definitely learned that lesson the hard way. Um, I think that would be my first advice, my main one. I think the second one, I still struggle with it. I know it might be quite the cliche line, but I do believe that everything is possible. And sometimes you can work hard for 10 years, but sometimes there's one week or one opportunity that will change your direction and you will achieve it. So please don't give up for me and you, because believe me, I was thinking about that more than once. I've had more than one struggles where I thought that this might be the end of the line for me, but I've stuck through it. Ah, there has been more than one opportunities or lucky days that it changed, not by a lot, but a little. And I think the number three advice that I would like to give somebody, not even advice, but just believe that you're good enough. Because I've used to struggle with imposter syndrome. Maybe thinking there's like, oh, who I am. I'm a regular girl from small town in a tiny country, and I'm in a tiny town. And I believe that it was like, oh, I'm not that special. Why should it be me? But also, why shouldn't it be you? If there's a room for everybody. Everybody has. There's room for everybody to make it. And I believe in you. Please give it a shot.
I absolutely love that. The very first one, I think, is very good advice because a lot of times people plan to the very last second, where they feel they're going. And then when it doesn't quite go according to their plan, they give up. But you're right, there's different ways to get to a destination, and that flexibility is key.
It really is. I've learned this the very hard way because I was such a planner. I needed to go everything my way, and sometimes something didn't exactly happen the way I intended to. I got lost. But
Yeah.
I think like finding the peace and the trust that this will be fine and being adjustable to changes, it
Yes.
it changed my life.
I love that. So, my last question for you is, if time was an illusion and I could take you into the future, you're now 100 years old, maybe you're married, you've got children and grandchildren and great grandchildren, and you're sitting on your porch watching the sun go down with your little dog. If you could go into the future and have a conversation with the future you, that wise woman who led you all the way to this point, what would you say to her based on how you're living your life right now?
Um, wow, that really touched me. I've had that imagination. All I would say is like, I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy. I hope all of this was worth it. It's
I
great.
love that. Yeah, I always encourage most of my clients that we are born with all of the knowing and all the wisdom that we need to create our dreams. And when you have a dream, your future self will lead you there. And it sounds to me like you're doing it, taking one step at a time, being bold, holding on to your vision. You know you could do this, and you've done it. And it's a beautiful example of how we should all live. So thank you so much for coming online and inspiring our audience with your beautiful story. Where can people buy these shoes? Are they online? Are they in stores? Tell us where they're available.
So right now we're available online at www.michaelav.com.
Okay,
I will send you a link.
fantastic. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. The Her Story Circle movement is attracting some phenomenal women from all over the world, young and old. Tune in again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And bye for now. Thank you so much, Michaela. Hold
Thank
on because I want to share something else with you before you go. Bye bye, everybody.
I'm Beverly Price, and I am the CEO and founder of Nastava Artisan Jewelry and their chief statement jewelry designer. Nastava creates bold statement jewelry to help women on their journey from self-expression to self-empowerment. Many people ask me every day, where did I get the name Nastava and what does it mean? Well, I got the name Nastava from three women I admire most. They're strong, they're independent, they're vital, and they're very happy. And so I got the Na part of Nastava from my daughter, Natalie. I got the Sta part of Nastava from my daughter, Stephanie. And I got the Va part of Nastava from my mother, Virginia. So I can take them with me no matter what I'm doing with Nastava every day. They inspire me. I have a life that is full and beautiful and fulfilling, both personally and professionally. And I feel confidence and self-love. But I wasn't always like that at all. I, in my past, lived a life of toxic relationships, both personally and professionally, failed marriages, negativity, criticism, belittlement, and fear. And I decided at one point, after repeating a lot of these behaviors, that I needed to make a change and I needed to move from self-doubt and insecurity to self-confidence and self-empowerment. I knew that nobody could do it for me, that I had to do it for myself. And so I turned to things like affirmations, which I still do to this day, and gratitude lists, which I also do. I turned to faith. I turned to my strength. I turned to a support system and positive thinking to help me out of this downward spiral that I was on, to take me on that journey from negativity to positivity. And I want Nastava. I want the experience of wearing Nastava to take a woman from that same place to self-empowerment and self-expression. I want her to have the same transformation that I did. So when I was about 45 years old, a long time ago, I decided to get my MBA and go back to school. It wasn't required by my work, but I wanted to do it for myself. And I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. I was a single mother with two very small children, and I was a working mom at the same time. So one of the things I had to prove to myself is, can I do it? And then would I do it? And so, yes, I was able to do it. But one of the things I learned, the lesson I learned from that is that I, at one time, had to consider myself successful when I was doing things. I had to do things to be good in my mind. I didn't have to be, or I couldn't be to be good. So there's a doer in me and there's a be in me. And so what I had to learn was I had to get comfortable with being me apart from doing things. And as I was on that journey and a corporate executive beginning my career, I learned that it was important what your appearance was to other people in that corporate setting. So when I began, I read a book called Dress for Success that was supposed to be kind of the secret manual of what your uniform was to be. And it showed a picture of a woman's dress and a man's dress, and they were both suited. And the woman's suit was identical to a man's except for the skirt. It was a gray jacket and skirt with a little rounded collar on a white blouse, a little bow tie, and very black pumps. And so the only way I could describe that to you is blah. There was nothing exciting about it. It caused you to blend in with everybody else and look just like everybody else. There was no uniqueness. There was no personality in it. So then as I moved further in my career, I left that financial services firm and moved to an advertising agency where I experienced color and excitement and creativity. And yet I was more insecure than ever because I didn't know how to dress like that. And again, I was trained that I had to look the part. I had to look like everyone else. So I decided to make an investment in myself, and I went to a fashion stylist who showed me how to dress. She showed me that color. She showed me that I could bring excitement to what I was wearing, that I could be feminine and yet professional. She showed me how style and my body type and color would all go together to create the image that was me, that I didn't have to look just like everybody else, that I could be the unique me. And as a result, I became more confident in my expression. And I became, once I could express myself, I became more empowered. I then made a move back to financial services as an executive. And one of the things that saddened me was that women didn't support other women, that women actually competed with other women. And I wanted to support other women and to be supported by other women. But I still wore my bold jewelry that gave me that security, that energy, that creativity, and made me look unique. Because at that time, I had really decided that I didn't want to look just like everybody else. I wanted to be me. And a woman who I would consider not very supportive, and I would consider her competitor, came up to me and pointed to my necklace and said, "Did you make that?" And I said, yes. And she said, wow, it's beautiful. You ought to sell it. Well, I was shocked. I was shocked that a competitor would say something like that to me, but it was also an incredible nudge. It was a nudge that helped me launch Nastava Artisan Jewelry. I moved from making jewelry for myself to wanting to share that with others. So I began selling to boutiques and individuals, and I did that for many years. As life would have it, my parents, who had lived with me for 20 years while I took care of them, began to age and were in the final stages of their life. And both of them got their wish. They were able to pass peacefully at home. And I was happy that I could do that for them. At my father's service, my cousin that I hadn't seen in a while came up to me and said, you know, you ought to restart your jewelry business because it's beautiful. And there was another nudge. There was that nudge that I was missing, that creativity. So my husband had a dream. He wanted to move to the beach. And I had a dream of designing and building a custom home, again, creative. And so we moved to Pawleys Island, South Carolina, where I am right now in my jewelry studio. And I restarted Nastava Artisan Jewelry. But this time, when I did, I wanted it to be different. I wanted it to be more than just jewelry. I wanted it to be an experience for women. I wanted it to be that experience that could help women move from self-doubt to self-expression and self-empowerment. I wanted to teach women that it was okay to express yourself, and it was actually a very good thing. I wanted to show them that they could be beautiful too. There's actually a study done by the Dove Corporation that says less than 3% of women believe that they're beautiful, but 80% of women that they interact with, they think are beautiful. So right there, it tells you that 97% of women think they're not beautiful and others are. So what do you do with that? Well, you build on that. And there was another study also that said that a woman's confidence is directly linked to her success. So if I don't feel beautiful, I'm not going to feel confident and I'm not going to be successful. And successful can be in any realm. It doesn't have to be a corporate executive. It can be a mom. It can be a volunteer. It can be an entrepreneur. It can be a wife. It's just, it's whatever you want it to be. Confidence is a critical role in that. So as I restarted Nastava, the things I wanted to do differently was, one, give back to women, as I said. The second is I wanted to have a support system. When I began my career and as it progressed, all of my time was consumed with, you know, going up the ladder and being successful, and also being a single mom. There was no time left for anything else. And so I had no friends. I had acquaintances that I worked with, but I had no deep friends that I could rely upon for support or give support to. So one of the things I had to do when I created Nastava and when I moved to Pawleys Island was to create a support system. And now I can say I happily have built a support system with wonderful women who will listen to me and I can listen to them, and they help me on my journey of growth. And the third thing that I would want Nastava to be different from is I would want to know that I didn't have to be perfect and I didn't have to do everything. There are things that I like to do and don't like to do. There are things I'm good at and things I'm not good at. And there are things that consume a lot of time that if I can get someone else to do it, that frees me up to do what I do best. So I had to start relying on other people in certain tasks to help me kind of complete the circle of what I wanted Nastava to be. At the same time, another thing I wanted to change about Nastava is I wanted to move from business to consumer, so that I would stop selling to boutiques and then I would move to 100% online sales. And this was really important because the more I could sell to individuals, the less funds I would have to pay to a boutique. So my profit margin would be much higher and I could benefit more from my business. So that was something very important to me. And that's like re-engineering everything. So that's where I really did need experts. I needed experts for web design and social media and PR and email marketing. I needed people to help me with inventory and photography and those types of things. So I now have kind of a vast network to rely on. So Nastava has come full circle from kind of a do-it-yourself design for what I want to wear to now truly being able to complete that vision of moving a woman from self-expression to self-empowerment. And one of the things that I do is I do custom Zoom sessions with women to help select and educate them on what looks best for them, how they tap into their beauty, whether it's the outfit they're wearing, the occasion they're going to, their body type. And I ask them after they receive their piece to come back and Zoom with me and tell me how they feel. And so I get to witness the end result of that woman's transformation. And that's everything I wanted Nastava to be. So I have a fulfilling life, both personally and professionally. I have a loving husband. I have 4 cute little snuggly Havanese dogs that I adore. I have a beautiful home and I live at the beach. What more could somebody ask for? So Nastava has really turned my life around, and I hope it's turned other women's lives around. Thank you.
What an amazing presentation and what an amazing journey you've been on.
Yes, it's been a good one.
I absolutely love the fact that you had a passion for something that you put aside for a while to look after your parents, and then you went back to it. Now, a lot of women have given up on their dreams. They would have thought, okay, I've reached a certain age. Maybe I should just let it go. What 3 nuggets of wisdom could you offer another woman who's listening to us right now, who's at that crossroads where they have this burning desire to do something and they don't have the confidence to do it? What advice would you give? 3 nuggets of wisdom.
Oh, the first one absolutely is believe in yourself, and particularly believe in yourself when nobody else will. Believe in yourself if you experience criticism or doubt from others or even self-doubt, but believe you can do it. And I think that's the first thing that's important. The second is tap into that passion. Inside that passion, there is an energy, there is a drive, there is an electricity that can fill your being, and your passion can drive you to success. And then the third thing is find that support system, because what I've found is that one of the things that happens in entrepreneurship that they never teach you anywhere is that your emotions can roller coaster with your sales and revenue and how your business is doing. And so there's up days and there's down days. And it's always helpful to have tools to deal with the down days and to have people that support you. I have a whole group of girlfriends that I use that can help me see myself more realistically than sometimes I see myself when I'm down. And those are the 3 things.
You're right. We do need other people to reflect back to us who we truly are. having that circle of friends who can say, no, this is what I see. And as entrepreneurs, the self-doubt is just part of the journey. We just have to feel those
Absolutely.
emotions and keep on
Yes.
going. Oh, wow. Now, your bridal collection is very unique. I've been on your website, I've been on your Instagram. Are the bridal pieces personally customized for each of your clients?
I have both already made and custom pieces. Ideally, with most brides, the idea is to custom design it to the dress, to the neckline, to the body type, to the hair, how they would wear their hair up or down. And so we usually do custom Zoom sessions once the bride has her dress to determine what's most appropriate, whether it's a necklace, bold earrings. I also create back ornaments that are like necklaces down the back. And we just determine what's perfect for that bride to make her day shine.
Absolutely fantastic. Now, going back into business after years of not being in business and also launching a business during COVID, what are the challenges that you're facing? Is there an advantage to COVID? How are you finding the business environment now?
Well, I think the business environment now is ripe with opportunity. I think particularly there were so many people that turned to the online world during COVID that now it's more natural than ever for a majority of people to shop online. I think COVID, in terms of restarting my business, allowed me the time to get all my systems in place to make the business work successfully. But I think, particularly for an online business, COVID, while it's a terrible experience and it had terrible ramifications, I think educated many people on how to do more online and how to not be afraid of shopping for luxury items online.
And I think the world is really flat now because of COVID. You're doing your
Yes.
consultations on Zoom. Somebody can have a conversation with you in the comfort of their own home and literally handpick what they want, almost like they're having an experience with you face to face.
Yes.
Great opportunity. So, are your products sold only in the US or internationally as well?
They are available internationally as well. The majority of sales now do come from the US, but they are available internationally. Really, anybody that can access a website these days, you know that.
Definitely. I mean, I'm sitting on my couch in Wellington, New Zealand. You're there in the US, and we're having a conversation like we're in the same room. So it's a really exciting time to be in business. Absolutely
Yes.
exciting. So, throughout your business journey, what would you say has been your biggest success and what has been your biggest failure?
Wow. Biggest success. I think I have a kind of a combination life and business success, and that is having hit a place of such low self-esteem and lacking confidence, to move past that, to move to a place where I did feel confidence, that I did let myself connect with the energy of my passion and feel that I was worthy. So I think making that journey was my biggest success. I think my biggest challenge or life lesson, if you will, was again not having a support system, that I sacrificed my support system in order to climb the corporate ladder and be a mom. And I could have carved out a little bit of time to build a support system or maintain a support system. But as it was, I needed to rebuild one and start a new one when I moved here to South Carolina.
Fantastic. Now, if I could take you into the future You're now 100 years old. You're sitting in your
Oh,
rocking chair, surrounded by your children and your grandchildren and great grandchildren. If you could have a conversation with the future you, this wise woman who has led you to that point, based on how you're living your life right now, what would you say to her?
let's see. I would say to her, thank you for being my guide. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to follow the path to be you. That my dream is to follow that journey to become the woman you have become. And I am grateful that you have given me the strength to get there.
I absolutely love that. I love playing with that question because a lot of women don't realize that that wise woman is already in us,
Hmm.
already inside us, guiding us to where we're supposed to go. So, what I do is sometimes I go into meditation when I get stuck and I
Yes.
just ask her, what is the next step? And sometimes it percolates through my dreams and a solution will come, or the next day I'm talking to somebody about what I'm trying to figure out, and then the answer comes. But thank you for answering that. Beautiful
Sure.
illustration that we have everything we need within us to achieve all of our dreams. And like you said,
Yes.
life knocks us back every once in a while. The self-esteem issues come in. But if you have a passion and a vision to bring that into being, you can. So, lastly, what should I have asked you that I didn't ask you in this interview?
Oh boy. Um, let's see. I'm thinking and I'm having a hard time because you were so very thorough with all your questions.
That's awesome. Maybe I did a good job.
You did a fantastic job. You did a fantastic job. The only thing that I can think of is that one of the current challenges that I think any entrepreneur has is trying to figure out how to get it all done. And you can literally work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if you let yourself. But it's important to find out what are the tasks that other people can help you with. What are the ones that you don't do well or you don't like to do? Because no one human being can do everything. And I think that was an important lesson for me to learn, because if you try and do everything like I did, you burn out a little bit. So it's best to get help and turn to experts in some areas that you don't know.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Beverly, for coming online today and sharing your wisdom with us. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in from around the world. The Her Story movement is attracting some phenomenal women. Come back again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Beverly, thanks again for the interview.
Thank you. Bye, Gertrude.
Bye for now, everybody.